Beyond.
Okay.
Beyond.
Yes.
Is the name of this podcast. Podcast Beyond, episode 400.
What do you do with your voice?
59? 60?
No, it's 460. Last
Really?
week was 459.
We had a half
you
episode.
You put
I
it
got all-
459 in the doc, and then I changed it because it was
I got all
incorrect.
effed up with the numbers. Who cares? Anyway, welcome back. I'm Max Scoville. With me is Alana Pierce.
Greets.
Brian Altano.
Rap.
Marty Sleva.
Shalom.
Yes.
That's what we say back in the old
Jumbo.
country.
The original Beyond.
Yes.
Shalom.
All right.
What's up, everybody?
So yeah.
A rabbi's dozen.
I like how we came in here and... All right. First things first, a little bit of housekeeping. We have a party that we're going to be having in San Francisco. It is happening on
You do the housekeeping after the party.
Saturday. Thank you for that top-notch humor there. October 15th on Saturday in San Francisco at a place called The Village. Not the M. Night Shyamalan movie, but
I really like
but
that
a bar.
film. Me too.
Okay, great. We're going to have a IGN house party. It's going to be one of those things we do where...
It's our 20th anniversary.
20th anniversary. We partner with Alienware. There's going to be games and photo booths and foods and drinks and live entertainment. I think we're probably doing a live panel of some sort.
Yeah.
If nothing else, we'll just get drunk and hang out with people. You can get tickets online if you go to 20 YRS of Gaming, like the number 20, but if you're like spelling years real short, .eventbrite.com, or you can just go follow us up with us on Twitter or any of the various social media feeds.
Yeah, it's a multi-day thing. On Friday, we're opening it up like a big tour of the office. A bunch of folks are going to be able to come by.
Yeah, ticket to this actually gets you in to IGN to do a Q&A and a tour and all that stuff, which is we open up very not as infrequently as the Willy Wonka's factory, but it's just as magical.
It also gets you a shirt. It's a Counting Crows shirt of their 94-95 tour.
I don't think that's true.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, and there's the very
Just
small
us shirt.
chance that if you buy tickets to this, you'll also get tickets to the Lilith Fair.
Yeah. Also,
One lucky
you
winner
will
will
You
also
used to get us
get-
up line to
also-
them.
Is that a real thing?
If
The
you
Lilith
buy
Fair?
Yeah.
if you buy a dozen
What is
tickets,
that?
you're allowed to kiss Andrew.
Marty,
Yep.
what's the Lilith Fair?
Isn't that it was like all the girls festival?
Yeah,
It was sort of like it was a bunch of women. It was only girls allowed.
yeah.
It was like a music festival, but it was all female
It's like Ozfest for women.
bands.
That's actually
Like
pretty cool.
whole.
Yeah, there's a lot of whole, probably a lot of garbage.
It's a good word.
A Paramore.
This is before. This
Yeah.
is pre-Paramore.
I did
I don't-
see
I don't
Garbage
think-
live once. That lady masturbates on stage.
What?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Absolutely.
Anyway, off to a great start with this PlayStation podcast.
If you want to see more garbage live, you can come see us.
Yeah, there you go.
None of us is going. No one's gonna masturbate on stage.
That we don't do that.
It was pretty intense. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Anyway,
She just went full on, just
Yep.
Really?
Okay. Well,
like
Shirley Manson.
all up in there.
only
up in
happy when it rains. Okay.
PlayStation.
Yeah. So,
shalom.
first things first. I don't think I've talked about it on here yet. I played The Last Guardian.
Yeah.
Zach put up a preview about it last week. We talked a little bit on Up at Noon. I'm kind of worried about it, sort of. I mean,
dog.
the kind of short thing is it plays like a game from a while back.
It is a game that has been in development since the PS2 era, and so
Yeah.
it plays like a game that has been in development since the PS2
Yeah,
era.
kind
But
of.
Duke Nukem was great.
Yeah, honestly, like I don't. This is really. I don't want to be hyperbolic here, but the whole setup for this honestly reminded me of when I went to a preview for Duke Nukem Forever. I went to preview Duke Nukem at 2K in like 2010 or 11 or whatever the hell that was. And basically, like, they'd had a preview event, but, like, Destructoid couldn't go to it, so they were like, oh, we'll do a kind of a rain check appointment. In this case, we didn't have, or Sony was basically cool enough to set us up to go check it out, behind closed doors. We did have people at TGS, but they basically showed us the same demo.
Right.
It was the same kind of very, like, small scale, very, like, kind of intimate. Like, here's you and a PR person, and you're playing the game, basically. It's not like a big event where they're, we'll just, walk around. So I had this, I had a guy kind of, like, whispering in my ear, giving me kind of tips on how to play the game, and I thought I was just like screwing up left and right. It's got kind of very like, I mean, it's got controls that feel very similar to Shadow of the Colossus.
Which, to be fair, those games don't control very well.
Right.
We don't love them because they
The
control.
camera's
Yeah.
a little weird.
The camera's especially a little weird in this. It's just I was climbing on the dog and trying to jump off, and the kid occasionally grabs stuff you don't really want him to. I kept trying to like hop off the dog onto this ledge, and I would just plummet to my death.
So
And I
were
was
the main
like,
issues you feeling like you're not in control?
well, yeah, and it was like I was like, oh man, I'm just screwing up left and right here. This is embarrassing. And then
the original Assassin's Creed games did that really badly.
Yeah.
Like it would be like, I didn't want to grab that. I wanted to grab this. And
Yeah.
super
Yeah.
frustrating.
It's also like jumping off a platform is one thing, jumping off a giant dog is another thing because
Yeah.
the dog doesn't really necessarily do what you want it to be doing.
So one of the things I was trying to figure out is, and this is like something I've been thinking about since literally the first Donkey Kong game, was like, is it a trial and error thing to figure out how far you have to fall before you die? Because I saw him jumping off of ledges and like hitting the ground and rolling and being okay, but then there's other things where he jumps like a foot higher and it's an instant death.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of hard to gauge.
Right. But
yeah,
it's something
like-
you'll probably figure out as you play.
I mean, the developer was in the room with me, grabbed the controller, and he's like, "Here, I'll get you past this part," and then he dies on his first try, and I was like, "Okay, so that's not just me, you know, like, that's
Yeah.
something funky with the game." But
Yeah,
it's like,
Zach
I mean,
was-
I don't want to crap all over it.
Sure.
Like Zach's preview is just completely dead on. You know, there's still like a ton of like wonderful, magical, whimsical stuff, but it kind of. This is also later in the game. It's kind of past tutorial phases. It's the same chunk that we saw at E3 2015, and it's like, there's a bunch of stuff that I haven't learned how to do yet. Essentially,
Yeah.
like how to really control the bird dog.
Yeah.
And maybe
make it do
by
stuff.
this point in the actual progression of the game, you'll have a better.
Sure.
One of the things I did
of
see that was a
levels.
little alarming was there was a video going around yesterday of
Comparison.
a graphic comparison of what it looked like at E3 versus what the preview videos look like now, and there's been a noticeable downgrade, which is
Even
something.
The Witcher did that though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like-
But I mean, it's just, I think that's something we just have to get used to in the gaming industry, which I don't think I'm fully comfortable with ever being
Which sucks
okay with
because
that.
like you don't see a trailer for Rogue One and then the movie comes out and you're like, oh, that robot looks a lot worse.
Usually
Yeah.
the opposite thing
It's kind of
happens.
false
Like if you
advertising.
saw the trailer for Jurassic World, the scene where that like sea dinosaur pops
Yeah.
out and eats something coming down from
It
the
looks so
camera.
much cooler in the actual movie.
It's way better in the movie. Like they
Yeah.
actually took the time to make the graphic the CG look better. Whereas in gaming, like you see in Ubisoft and EA, they've all been guilty of it before. You see an E3 demo, you get really hyped on it, and I think especially for something like The Last Guardian, like this is not a game with 1,000 characters on screen at the same
Yeah.
time. You know, this
it
is
does
not.
have individual feathers, though.
Yeah,
That's one
well-
thing that really
is
jumped
pretty
out at me
crazy.
is like the stuff that they put detail into. It really sticks out.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you're smashing up like, you know, wooden structures, and they're just the amount of like, it's not just visual either. Like the amount of,
Yeah.
kind of noises and just, I mean, it's incredibly atmospheric and it's actually kind of like startling. But yeah, like there's a lot of moving parts. But you know, that said, there were a few little hiccups here and there. And
Yeah, so I played it at E3, I think for about 45 minutes, and didn't have any like camera or control issues.
Really?
Yeah. And I wonder if that is because I was playing through the tutorial. I played from
Maybe.
what
I mean, did you-
assume is the very start.
Did you play a lot of Shadow of the Colossus and Eco?
I played Shadow of the Colossus,
Okay.
yeah. But like even that because they've aged and I haven't played it for a really long time. But
Yeah, because I think there's like
if I'm used to it, I
there's
guess.
just a weirdness to those games that you
Yeah.
get used to almost
Over time.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's I've been replaying Eco because I'm writing a thing for its 15th anniversary, which is coming up soon. And I was replaying it over the weekend, and it was definitely a thing where I was like, "Oh, this game doesn't control the way other games do."
Yeah.
But within 45 minutes, I was like, "All right, well, I'll just adapt to it."
I had this.
Yeah.
I think I talked about this on the show a couple months ago. But I had the same thing happen when that game popped up on PlayStation Now, where I was like, I love this game. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I went back to play it, and I was like, oh, I don't remember the camera being like controlling like a security camera in the corner of a room, where it basically just tilts left and right. But yeah, eventually you get used to it, and there's like just weird nuance to it. And I know Shadow of the Colossus, specifically climbing up on a Colossus back, was like very weird. Like the combination of buttons and button presses and holds you're doing was almost sort of like when you're playing Heavy Rain and they intentionally put you in precarious situations where you're like holding the controller in a weird way. But again, you get used to it, and it's worth it for the splendor and beauty that those games have to offer. So
do you think that like while I didn't have the issues that you had, I also wasn't doing anything intensive? Like the thing that I had to do was break
Yeah.
Trico out of chains and like hooks. Like it wasn't anything that was like a lot of platforming. I had no threat of death. Like, do you think it's something that you'll get?
I think
used
that
to?
could have very much been the case, is that I was in kind of a later portion of the game. And I think they wanted to show off the chunk that they showed at E3 to be like, hey, yeah, this is what it's like to actually do it. Because
Right.
there's stuff in there where, I mean, there are sort of contextual elements, like when you fall off and he catches you with his tail. It's unclear watching that in a press conference what's part of the game and what's like a little cutscene.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's still kind of hard to tell when you're playing it in the game. It's sort of like almost like a blind QuickTime event. Like you sort of are. I actually managed to screw up that part at one point, and then they were like, "No, you got to get really up close to the edge there." And I was like,
well,
"Oh,
because there's no like prompt, right? For
exactly."
like
It kind of almost just like throws it. There's one of the big mechanics in that game is trust. Like it's basically like, do do you trust yourself? Do you trust the dog? Like, does the dog trust you? Yeah. I don't trust anything with feathers.
So with
You're
that
actually
part where-
allergic to dogs, aren't you,
Yeah,
Marty?
so I don't trust him at all.
With that part with the tail, are you pressing something to make it pick you up, or does Trico automatically do that?
Trico swings his tail down. I think you have to press the grab button to grab onto it.
Right.
Then again, I might have also just it might have been one of those automatic things, but I was pressing it anyway because that was my
'Cause you didn't
instinct.
know?
Yeah,
Right.
which is kind of a cool little thing to do there.
It makes me think like let's plays of this game from people who are just like totally locked into it are going to be really awesome to watch.
Yeah,
because I have a
really
feeling.
cinematic.
Yeah, especially if it's not just covered in QuickTime events and buttons. Like I was talking about this, but I've been replaying Resident Evil 4, and that has a ton of QuickTime stuff. And it takes like half a second, but you'll be in the middle of a cutscene, and like Krauser will go to swing his like weird knife arm
Yeah.
at you,
Yeah.
and it'll like giant L and R buttons will pop up on the
You're
screen.
like, oh, I wasn't even holding the controller.
Yeah, and you're like, I was watching a movie, and all of a sudden, like, I'm into it again. One of my fears about this game, or maybe not a fear, I think this might turn out to be okay, but I think people aren't really expecting this. But I have a feeling the game's only going to be like 5 or 6 hours long.
Totally fine
yeah.
with that.
Yeah, I think I want that.
Yeah, they haven't. I do too. I think that just people will go 10 years for 5 hours because they equate time to content and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a good expectation to go in. Is just don't expect a 25-hour long game.
I feel like that'd kind of ruin the charm. Like if
I
you're
agree.
in a kind of universe that's that mystical for
Yeah.
that long,
Yeah.
just grow old.
I mean, that's also another thing is being thrown into this beautiful environment and to be like immediately getting tapped on the shoulder by the dev to be like, hey, actually, just make sure you want to go over here and here are the controls.
Yeah,
It was
I
just
hate
kind of like,
that,
I was
yeah.
like, dude, it's really atmospheric. Like, let me get into it, and then have on top of that kind of confounding difficulty and
yeah.
you know.
But
So
it
it's
sounds like you and Zach both had the same issue, so
yeah.
I wonder if it was when
Yeah.
you started, or
I mean,
if it's something we should be worried
The
about.
moral of the story is, I think, gauge your expectations. Games that have been in the works for longer aren't necessarily better, and it's. I think it's going to be a fine game. I just don't think it's going to be like, the second coming.
So that's funny because transitioning to the next thing, one of the things we want to talk about are the 3 games that we're most excited for the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I just realized 2 of my 3 are games that have been in development for a decade. With
Yeah.
The Last Guardian and Final Fantasy 15. And
Right.
I'm totally entering both of them, not with low expectations, but with tempered expectations. I'm not, again, expecting the second coming. I'm just so curious about
Yeah.
how these 2 things have turned out, just because we've been following their development I've been following it since I was in college. Before
Yeah.
college, like that's insane.
Yeah.
And so those 2, along with Mafia, are the games I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to most. Also Gears, but I put that in parentheses.
Yeah, I didn't put Mafia on my list, but I'm incredibly excited for it. It's like I don't know. It's weird to think about playing that and Watch Dogs so close to each other because they are both open, like crime-driven open world games.
Yeah.
We also haven't had a really good one of those in a long time.
Yeah.
Or at least it feels like it. So
I feel like they'll be pretty different, though. I'm expecting Mafia to be really gory, brutal, violent, and Watch Dogs is a little more passive and
Yeah.
puzzly.
Yeah.
Also, the time periods alone means that the tech that you're using is so
Yeah, that's-
completely different.
Sure.
totally
yeah.
true.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
there's-
70s New Orleans is so different than 2016.
Yeah.
Like you're
I mean,
basically calling in stuff on payphones in Mafia,
Yeah.
and in Watch Dogs you probably have like an Apple Watch
Yeah.
or like a
Yeah.
Bluetooth thing in your brain.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, one is like, oh man, we gotta fight the system and take down these startups, and then Mafia's like, hey, Vietnam War just ended, and there's Klansmen coming after you or whatever. And you're like, all right, this is a little bit different.
Technically, you are taking down startups in Mafia, but they're just run by like the
Real
riverboat
shady
Yeah,
people.
Yeah.
Riverboat startups.
Italians.
Yeah, I put Watch Dogs 2 for me, but in parentheses, I think. I never got into first Watch Dogs. I'm kind of glad I skipped it because I think part of me really wanted to like. I keep meaning some guy checked out both copies from our library. I don't know who that man is.
What a weird-
I don't
what a
think he
weird
works
dude.
here.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
dude
It's a
checking out the
mystery.
copies of a game?
It's not
I
even
feel
a
like
mystery.
it's like it's probably like $20 to get that game digitally
Yeah,
at this
I
point.
know, but then it's
Even-
also like it's also a couple months until the next one comes out that looks.
yeah,
like
but it gives you
something-
context when you
Yeah,
play the
no,
new
I
one.
get that, but it's also like you played Far Cry 4 without playing 3.
I played a little bit of 3. I played like the first 3 or 4
really?
hours of 3. Yeah, and I went back.
so much for it, right?
I played tons of 4. I 100%ed Primal. I played through Blood Dragon. I went back and played more of 3. But
Yeah, I think there's mechanics there where I'd rather play. I mean, jumping into Uncharted 1 versus Uncharted 2 is a different game, and I think frequently the second game in a series is often better.
Assassin's Creed does that.
Yeah. My published review of Watch Dogs, the end line is still, I think Watch Dogs 2 will be a very good game.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not actually worth playing Watch Dogs 1.
Yeah.
With Uncharted, it's a little different because it's the same exact characters,
Sure,
and with
sure.
this, they very specifically were like, we need to get away from this main character.
Aiden is
awful.
He's insufferable.
Yeah.
But I think I really do think the first Watch Dogs is like play it for like 2 or 3 hours before the new one comes out because I think it'll give you a good appreciation. Also, it's just like, I mean, how much time have you spent in Chicago? None, right? Yeah. So me neither. And
I still
for me,
really like the city though.
yeah, me too. But for me, I was like really interested in like I play so many games that are like New York and LA, and this one's even taking place in San Francisco. And for someone who's never been to Chicago, it was cool to go to like a modern day version of a city that I had no reference
One
points
thing
of.
that game did very well is it made the city feel very dense. Like it actually felt alive, and that's one thing I'll credit it for. But for the most part, I feel like, I think playing maybe an hour of Watch Dogs 1 will make Watch Dogs 2 better, but I think playing the whole thing would just give you fatigue.
Yeah.
Especially because a lot of Watch Dogs 1 is just press a button. Like,
That's
oh,
what
you
I'm
hacked
kind
the
of
thing
wary
by
of.
pressing X.
But that said, like, I mean, I haven't spent enough time with Watch Dogs to know whether or not I really like that. Like, I mean, I'm super fond of. I really like the Far Cry elements in Ubisoft games, like climb up a tower. I guess that's sort of also an Assassin's Creed thing.
Right.
Climb up a tower and unlock the area around you or whatever.
Yeah.
I liked a little bit of the kind of the Home Alone approach to Outpost that Watch Dogs 1 had. Where you're
I mean, if there was a way to, I don't know if there's a way to. It's been a while. If you can just jump into those Outpost things, because those, dude, you would have so much fun playing those.
I played one on a preview event. Like I didn't play none of the game. I just didn't kind of get into it in its final form. But I'm like, I think I'm excited about Watch Dogs 2, but it could also be one of those things that I play for like 3 hours and I'm like, this is fine. I don't think I love it.
Yeah.
But that's really every game.
I'm really worried about hating the humor in it. Like I don't know yet, but I'm worried that they're just gonna like shove crappy memes in my face, and then I'm gonna hate it.
And
Like
emoticons and
I really hope they don't do that too bad.
It's been walking a line right now, which, like, honestly, I felt that way going into Sunset Overdrive, but Sunset Overdrive handled the humor really well. Like, it walked this line. I was like, oh, it's gonna be like punk for punk's sake, but it walked the tightrope the entire way. Super well.
Which is what I want.
I'm hoping it's like the way Guacamelee handled them, where you're like, it's there, it's on a billboard, but otherwise I don't give a shit.
I think, like, from a preview event we went to maybe a couple of months ago, I remember just texting with the other members of DedSec and having them say, like, just things that people don't actually say. Like,
right.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of worrisome.
I'm very apprehensive about it. I hope that it's good. But
I have a feeling a lot of that, like most open world games, will fall backseat to you just kind of completing things on the map and ticking off. Like when I play an open world game, like honestly, and it's weird because we were texting about this the other day. Mitch Dyer was texting us about how much he hated the first hour of Watch Dogs, and I was like, I don't even remember it. Like honestly, I couldn't tell you how most open world games even begin. I can tell you what I'm doing throughout, and I can tell you how they end. But most open world games for me, like I actually don't care about the story as much.
I don't remember at all.
I want to play in a hyper stylized version of a city I live in and love and do cool stuff with, like, I don't know, while listening to Run the Jewels.
Like that with your funky baby helicopter. Do some bike stuff.
Yeah, like give me some toys and like a bomber jacket and a cool hat and some aviators and let me just get up in that city.
Isn't that just your life?
Really cool.
Yeah. Kind of flip side, Mafia 3 again, game I'm looking forward to in terms of I've been kind of really wanting a game set in that time period.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we've kind of like we've had Red Dead and LA Noire, but like it's weird how, and I guess there's Black Ops, but like it's as far as games set in America in
60s and
60s, it's kind of an untapped resource. But
it's also awesome what they're doing for like in terms of tackling racial diversity and racial issues in that game, about how white characters, if they see you in certain neighborhoods, since you play as a black protagonist or half black, will walk across the street and call the police.
Wow.
Like, and cops will come after you just for being black in certain neighborhoods.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm wondering how that's going to be received by the general public, and because it's true, like it's historic, So,
but yeah, it's also I'm to totally go the opposite direction. I'm worried about the driving. It's very arcadey looking. Like they've got all those kind of like I guess they're like targets or whatever. Like it'll just have like those little like weird things above people's heads, and it just it's completely jarring to see like basically like Crazy Taxi UI over this incredibly realistic 60s era game.
Imagine you can turn that off. A lot of games you can
I hope so.
Futz with the
the weird thing about something like this is that unfortunately, at the very end of the day, it's a video game.
Yeah.
You know, and you could like, as much as you want to be like, this is going to tell a great story, and this is going to, reignite conversations about racial diversity in the late '60s and early '70s. Like, there's also going to be like dumb video game stuff.
Still has to be fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Alana, you put Titanfall 2.
Yeah.
I forgot about that one too. That's also a big one.
Yeah, I'm mostly excited about that because everything I've seen of the campaign, like I really liked Titanfall 1, but I wanted a single player experience, and everything I've seen of the single player experience looks awesome. So obviously I'll play the multiplayer as well, but really, really I'm interested in that campaign.
Yeah, I'm genuinely excited for all 3 of the shooter campaigns.
How weird is that?
Yeah.
That, Battlefield,
Yeah,
and
Battlefield.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all just seem different enough.
Yeah.
I'm like
Especially
super,
to each other.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about Battlefield, which is really weird because I've historically never really cared much about World War One. Like it always struck me as sort of boring, and then I saw the trailer for
Are you
Battlefield 1.
more of a ketchup gas kind of guy?
What?
You more of a ketchup gas
That's the
guy?
dumbest thing I've ever heard you say.
That's not true.
Stupidest
it
thing.
was
absolutely
That's
not
really
true.
ketchup gas. What's wrong with you? It's terrible.
Ketchup gas.
Like mustard gas, but ketchup. Get it? That joke sucked.
Mustard
Yeah.
gas killed a lot of people.
Yeah, it
so-
did. Ketchup
Ketchup gas hasn't killed anyone yet.
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
Yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. Like, I think the fact that they were like, hey, here's a guy with a shovel and a club, and there's
Yeah,
birds and a
swords and
zeppelin,
horses
and I was like, wait, hold on, what's going on here?
Mm.
And then I don't know. I got this book called Weird War One. I got on Amazon. It's just a bunch of like, we did a little bit on Up at Noon about it, and I was like,
Yeah.
really intrigued. And it's just all these wacky ass inventions that came out of World War One, like. They were like, we made fake trees for men to hide inside of, and they're like, here's a funky ghost mask that's also a gas mask, and like
So weird.
they made like they made dummies that had with like little fake cigarettes in them, and they'd poke them up above like the trenches, and then they'd like blow cigarette smoke through like a tube, so it looked like there was someone poking their head up and just smoking cigarettes. So
And
they
if
could draw
they
out
got
snipers.
shot, then everyone knew
Well, yeah,
that
they'd have somebody
everybody else
with,
was
like, a
in that
periscope
trench.
who's like, where's that sniper coming from? Like, it's just like crazy stuff like that. It was like, this is like old timey nonsense. Like,
Yeah, I
that-
find World War One fascinating.
yeah, that war started, and like I think it was like the British and the Germans were like, yeah, we're gonna work like gray and khaki because that's stuff that makes sense to wear. And then the French showed up and they're like, we have our finest red buttons on, big gold hats, and you're like, what are
Yep.
you doing? You're gonna get shot in the head. So I don't know. Battlefield 1. Also, I played the beta. I really, really love it.
Yeah, the beta
It's
was fun.
completely insane.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally have that nice kind of statute of limitations being up, where it's all the people who were in World War One are long gone, so they won't
Yeah.
be offended
No,
by a game where
not old Jefferson.
old Jefferson.
Yeah, he's still here.
around.
Yeah, he's still here.
Well,
He's not happy with this video game.
I'm sorry about old Jefferson.
Yeah.
Well,
Old Jefferson, real mad about.
Old Jefferson laughed at my ketchup cast joke.
No, yeah, what?
No,
that's
he couldn't
awful.
hear it. He's blind and deaf in both ears and eyes.
All right.
Wait, what games are you excited about, Brian Altano?
Watch Dogs 2, The Last Guardian, and a little game. It's coming to 3DS, but I thought I'd throw it in here. Called River City Tokyo Rumble. I grew up on beat 'em ups like Double Dragon and Final Fight and Streets of Rage, and
What about
this one's
River
really
City
awesome. And River City Ransom, of course, which is really awesome. It's on 3DS. I'm really hoping it comes to other platforms, but it's Natsumi, so they've kind of just like not publicize the fact that they've made a game. I don't know what's with companies like that and Atlas where they're just like, people will find out. It's like, no, scream from the rooftops about every cool thing you're making. It's the only way to get any attention nowadays. And I also threw Super Mario Run in there, which comes out in December, which you can
super
probably
excited.
play on one of your devices.
I keep seeing videos of Miyamoto like chomping on hamburgers while playing it. He's
they're-
very obsessed with using one hand to eat.
They,
Yeah,
they
they're
got to
like
stop
that.
doing
I'm not
that.
gonna eat while playing.
Yeah, we understand. Like,
Yeah.
we got to stop doing that.
Yeah, it's very strange.
only need one hand.
You only need one hand. What's he doing? No.
Yeah, mine were
What's-
Titanfall 2, Last Guardian, Mafia 3, and a shout out to Pokemon and Gears 4.
Yeah.
You know what's kind of cool is the lead singer of Garbage could have also been playing
One hand?
Mario
Yeah.
Run.
Could have. She could
Playing a
have.
different game. Also, all the PSVR stuff, which is going to be really cool. I'm getting one of those. It's
yeah.
it's so crazy to think that thing. I'm going to have that thing in
Right.
like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
With all the demos and Star Wars Battlefront and
Yeah,
Batman
we're
and
getting ours in the office pretty soon.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I'm excited for Batman and Rez and Super Hypercube and Flipper.
Yep. I already saw a weird accessory. Somebody tweeted at me because we were talking about it on the show last week about where to store all this stuff. And it's this like stand that you put the PSVR on and the 2 Move controllers and a PS4 controller. It's just this like just big disaster pile of Sony stuff that all charges, but it looks like a mannequin head like holding his fists out.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
I'm gonna enlist the help of like a small man to just hold them while
Yeah.
I'm using them.
Well, sometimes I have the
a good
Oculus
idea.
on my desk, and
Get
I
one of
just
those.
put him on the. I have a bust of a locust head.
Yeah.
And I just sit the Oculus on that man.
That's a really good
I don't
idea.
like him though. His neck looks weird.
Yeah.
He's very
He's
unattractive.
an abomination.
Yes.
But yeah, all that said, this fall is awesome for games.
This year is
It's a
great.
It's a really good year for games, and I'm really happy. It feels like 2011 all over again. You know?
Yeah.
This year's also like it was front loaded with all these amazing indies like The Witness and Firewatch and Oxenfree, and then all of a sudden like the back half is going to be all these giant AAA games.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I mean, South Park just got delayed. Last Guardian got delayed by a month to December. Every time I hear about a delay, I'm actually
Sigh of relief.
it's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like I feel bad for people, and we get a lot of people in the Beyond Facebook group, facebook.com/group/podcastbeyond, where people are like, I took time off specifically for No Man's Sky, and then it gets delayed by a month, and they're like, I have a week to play Arkham Knight again. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm so
that does
sorry.
suck.
You know, stuff like that happens. So I don't know. I know you have to give your boss a heads up, but the video game industry is very fickle with stuff like that. So
Also, if you fight your boss and win in the fight, you're able to take vacation whenever you want.
legally,
I've heard
that
that,
holds up absolutely nowhere. So, but
So
you can
here's
do
the
it for
trick
fun.
Slash the boss's tires and then get diarrhea, and that's your alibi, right?
In the tire.
I was
No,
too
don't
busy
not
doing
in the
poops.
not in the. I couldn't have done it. I was doing turds, and they're
I
like,
see.
they'll
I
never
thought you were
catch
going to fill the slit with turds.
No,
That's exactly where my brain went,
That's not.
yeah.
Why would you think that? That's a terrible idea.
because we made an opening and then we had turds.
All right.
Is that what you do every time you find an opening? You just take a dump in it
Yeah.
every time?
Yeah.
All right.
That's why he's not allowed at Bed and Bath and Beyond. Beyond.
That place
so-
got so many openings.
Yeah. All right.
Have a field day.
So other stuff that's coming out this fall I totally forgot about is the what do you don't make that face at the camera. Don't do that.
I'm letting them
Jim
know.
Halpert.
I'm letting them know I'm with them.
All right. We got Skylanders, which has crazy customization, and of course Lego Dimensions, which is jam packed with a bunch of completely absurd brands and IPs. Brian and I actually just had Arthur from TT Games in the studio to do the Let's Play of that. We're going to put that up on the Beyond YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/IGNBeyond.
Yeah.
We got to play basically the first part of Mission Impossible. Like,
Of the movie, of the first Mission Impossible movies.
And this is the first time they've ever shown this off.
Yeah.
It's also the first time that Tom Cruise has been in a video game.
So it's weird how often I confuse the.
Wait, is his voice? Did they rip his
He
voice?
voices a plastic man of himself.
So I was talking about this, but they made a Mission Impossible N64 game, and Tom Cruise didn't lend his likeness to it, so they had to put this like fake guy in there named like Barry Hunt or something.
Hobie and Harvey.
Yeah, Harvey Dart.
Seems like something he would do.
Yeah.
And it was just like a completely different dude that sort of looked like him, and he wouldn't give them likeness. And I guess he's like cool now and like divorced and Scientology, and he's like, sure, put me in any game.
All right, those are cool things.
Yeah.
It's also just kind of weird because, like, I mean,
Two coolest things: divorce and Scientology.
Mission Impossible is one of those series that, like, if that's on, I'll watch it, but I don't have any like particular attachment to it. Like, there's that part with the doves and the Limp Bizkit in Mission Impossible 2, but
that was
I don't know.
prime John Woo.
Two is far and away the worst
Ghost
one.
Protocol is really good.
Yeah.
I really like Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, I have that one. It's good. It's like
Is
an
that the most
Incredibles
recent
movie.
one?
I think so. Or Rogue Nation. Or
Rogue Nation's the newest one.
Okay.
Ghost
But yeah,
Protocol is the
There's
fourth.
a bunch of them in the series,
Third,
and it's still
fourth.
Tom Cruise, and they keep doing them. But I feel like there's not really a hardcore fan base. I could be wrong, but I feel like it just it's like people go see it and they're like, that was fun. All right, well, time to go do other stuff.
I mean, that's the crazy thing about this this new season or whatever it is, or wave of Lego Dimensions thing. It's just like, oh, we're gonna have this and the A-Team
Yeah.
and the Goonies and Sonic and Adventure Time, and I'm like, what? Where did these come
I mean,
from?
some of these
They're trying
really
to get adults to
like,
play it.
Yeah.
Sonic will do fine. People,
Yeah.
I think the Sonic fan base is they'll pick up anything with Sonic on it.
Yeah.
I won't say anything more about that. I don't want to. I'm fine with Sonic. I don't have problems with Sonic. I know some Sonic fans have issues with some of the people in this room.
I mean,
So
I would
with
say
that-
that
Body.
Was it you?
I like Sonic.
You said that thing about
Yeah.
Big the Cat.
I would say that if most of the adults in this room around our age, I mean, that's you're younger, but I mean, if you lived in the middle of America, you'd have 3 kids by now. But most of us are like 30 or 30 plus. Like, we should have sons or daughters by now if we weren't so self-engaged in our own
We also live in a very,
nonsense.
We live in a tempered
Where did this
ecosystem.
all come from?
We're the kind of people that go, oh, I want to play a Goonies video game with my kid, and he's got Lego Dimensions. Like this new line
I
of
see.
new line of stuff is aimed squarely at people like us, who are like we're kind of people our age who are like kind of lapsed gamers, kind of into it. Our
One
kids
of
are
us
playing with
listening to this
Legos.
podcast and like, why don't you have kids?
Yeah.
Also super smart because it is like
Play it.
it's these games I think kind of do flourish on the basis that like you can like parents can play with their kids and it's fun for everybody. They'll have some jokes in there that are like for adults, not really adult humor, but just like
Smart.
stuff that
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's super smart.
Yeah, and then and they're not too hard for kids and they're not too frustrating for adults. So it's like
Wow.
everyone kind of has a good time. I know you guys had trouble with that
I
one.
get
that one
really,
puzzle.
really frustrated playing those games
Oh my
because I
God, trying
overthink
to get out of
everything.
that party.
Yeah.
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 Dumb wall.
Also,
Which
if
game?
you the
Avengers.
if you,
Oh,
pre-order, I read on Twitter, if you pre-order this at Babbage's, they give you an entire child.
Yeah, Babbage's.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so
that
you have
store
someone
that
to help
closed
you.
25 years ago.
But yeah,
Is it like cabbages?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's cool because it's like this is how you get kids to be like, yeah, I'll watch E.T. because it's like, oh yeah, like let's play this thing
Yeah.
about from my childhood. It's like it's kind of really cool because it is sharing as opposed to just being like, oh, they're remaking E.T. or oh, they're remaking. I mean, they did remake Ghostbusters basically, but
Well, it's smart because you can kind of be like, well, these are the toys you like, and here's the stuff I like, and there's no way for us to bring those things together. Because like I remember like when I was a kid, I had like Legos, and my dad was like, you know what we had is Lincoln Logs, and he's like, I'm gonna get you a set of Lincoln Logs, and he got them for me, and I'm like, these suck.
yeah.
Like it's wooden sticks that you make Abe Lincoln's house, I think, and then that's it.
That actually sounds pretty cool.
It's fine, but like
Lincoln's
the
house kinda
Legos like
sucks.
interact like infinitely basically,
Yeah.
and Lincoln Logs are just like they have divots on each end. But nowadays, like if I had a kid, I'd be like, "Hey, do you know what the Gremlins are?" He'd be like, "No." Because I'm not 80.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, well, they're really cool. How about they fight? How about Batman and the Gremlin team up to go take over the mansion from
Yeah.
Mission Impossible? Like, it's
Well,
really
that sounds
cool.
great.
It's
Yeah.
great.
I always
I'm
like
really excited
think of
about
how
this.
much influence you can have over kids. Like
Yeah.
I bought a present for a 2-year-old on Friday. And don't know the 2-year-old was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy this little girl some Lego.
Yeah.
It was like if I look in this store and there's like Barbie dolls and like costumes, the thing that I want this kid to have or to grow up with is totally Lego. I'm like,
Yeah.
buy her this, and then the next year she gets like a cooler one, and she just keeps building Lego.
Are
and
they,
then
like,
it's like
big
the kid
Lego?
likes Lego.
Did she swallow them?
Because otherwise you
They
bought...
are bigger Lego. Duplo? I
Yeah,
think it's
Duplo.
called. Yeah.
Duplos are specifically so a kid doesn't have to get his stomach pumped full of
Yeah,
Legos.
it's 1 to 5-year-olds, I think.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
It's a cute little farm.
Yeah, no, it's
you
great.
can influence people to like stuff that you like. It's
Stop
Well,
talking about
arms.
influencing children.
Yeah.
Well, because I think that like there's
Lana
the
Pierce, influencer
the
of 2-year-olds.
the fl-
Hot demographic.
Yeah.
like,
your,
share, and subscribe.
Your clout score for 2-year-olds. Is off the chart.
The flip side of things can happen too, where like you rebel against what your parents try to push on you, which is if you know
true.
where they're like, I really like this movie. And for some reason, that didn't really happen with me. Like I grew up like watching Mel Brooks movies thanks to my dad, but I could totally see the opposite thing happening and being like, oh son, this is a Gremlin, and you're like, I hate you, Dad.
I think if you're young enough, you
Yeah.
think it's cool.
So is it all
Yeah.
about reverse psychology? Like I'm gonna like make my kids play sports so that they hate sports?
I don't know. It's really interesting to me.
how that
You know,
works.
like it's really weird because you don't see a lot of stuff for us in our 30s that people in their 60s love that we're like, that's great. But this whole set is specifically for 80s babies that grew up.
Yeah, I love it because it's also this is super like kid friendly versions of stuff that isn't really that kid friendly.
No, not at all.
Like
Or Goonies and Ghostbusters are kind of.
Yeah.
Even Mission Impossible is about like
Impossible.
double crossing murderers.
Yeah.
yeah,
And,
and he blows up a restaurant with gum, and then
Yeah.
he, like
Yeah.
in the second one, they cuts off that man's finger with a cigar
Oh,
cutter.
that there's a
I didn't
passion
see
of the
the third
there's a
one.
passion of the Christ Lego set.
yeah, they're doing that too. It's really nuts.
I mean, yeah, there are like words that are said, and it's just like this guy with a little whip thing. He's just. I guess we hit a nerve there. But yeah, so anyway, go check out that.
I can't imagine what that would look like.
They actually make a
I
whole,
can imagine exactly what
They
it would
make
look
a
like.
whole Lego Bible, the brick Bible.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of the scariest Old Testament parts, but it's all with little bricks,
amazing.
little snakes,
Yeah.
and
Is that a real thing?
yeah, it's a real thing.
You guys lied to me so much. that
No,
I
that's
just
actually a
thought-
real thing. You can go ask
Okay.
Jared about it; he'll tell you.
I would trust Jared.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm happy Lego Dimensions is still going. I just
Yeah, so
this means I get Goonie Legos and
Yeah.
Sonic. I don't want. I guess I'll probably get the Sonic one. It's pretty funny. But like I don't know. I hope they do Breakfast Club or something. That'd be great.
you know what's weird about the Sonic one? When you take off his hat, there's a weird sick boy.
It's just a child's skull.
No one knows that about Sonic. It's actually really a man in that suit. Just a sick, wet man
Doesn't look
dressed as a
like
blue
hedgehog.
dragon.
It's true.
All right. We talked a little bit last week about how
Dun, 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 dun.
we talked a little bit last week about how we don't want to hear anything else about Death Stranding, the upcoming Kojima game, because there's nothing to hear yet. It's too far off. And in response to this, Hideo Kojima decided to tell us a bunch more about his upcoming game,
Yep.
Death Stranding.
Alrighty.
Yeah, so apparently it's going to be out before 2019.
Yep.
But he-
Wait, every time that we
talking.
talk about this, can we just be like Kojima Watch?
Yes.
And then have like a little intro play?
Yeah.
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 I like that. That's good.
Yeah, but yeah, he announced a release window by making an Akira reference, which was the most like, yes, there is a movie that is called Akira, and it is set in a year, and the Death Stranding will be out before that movie is set.
That
And
is
they're
the most Kojima ever.
what?
Yeah.
Which means it'll be out before 2019, I guess. So great.
It's kind of sooner than I expected.
Yeah.
I was expecting
Also,
2021
this is
or
probably a
something.
lie. It probably won't.
Yeah, no, it won't.
Also true.
Also, he said it might star a heroine.
Yeah.
You might be able to play as a
Didn't it say
girl
it was
Reedus.
a co-op and there'd
The
be a-
drug?
Yeah. You could play as
Starring
Norman Reedus
heroine.
or Smack.
Like a bag and needle with legs.
Did you guys see that time that he tweeted about spaghetti?
Yeah, he's done it
Just
a lot,
wow,
actually.
This is the most beautiful spaghetti, and it's just like fine looking
It's
spaghetti.
totally
I like
normal
that.
looking
it doesn't
spaghetti.
look great.
I like that he tweeted out like a Lego set of a VW Bug with a surfboard on it, and he just said "Good morning."
Yeah.
So
Aw,
great.
that's adorable.
Best person to follow on Twitter.
He also we also got to look at Metal Gear Survive in action. Did you guys
Yeah.
watch that demo
Yay.
for TGS?
Yeah.
Yes.
15 minutes of gameplay of
Yeah.
that.
For one thing we forgot to say about Death Stranding is that it is open world with
Oh, yeah.
possible
Co-op
co-op.
elements.
So we're basically, and it's an action game. So we got genre, we got style of play,
And it might have a woman.
and it might have a woman.
Yeah.
Or
So
heroin.
maybe also drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds. I mean, familiar to what he was probably experimenting with
Yeah.
Phantom Pain.
Speaking of
Yeah.
familiar,
Yeah. What?
ready? Let's talk about how this new Metal Gear
Oh, yeah.
game completely
Sorry.
lifts assets from a game that we all put 100 hours into.
Yeah. So yeah, it pretty much looks
Ready
like
to go back to Afghanistan again?
Metal Gear Solid Undead Nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I haven't seen this.
It's
That's actually the best way of putting it.
that makes
But
me care
Undead
about
Nightmare
it
is
a lot more.
awesome. That's the
okay.
difference.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean,
It was also, it was made by the same team.
Yeah.
so
So this doesn't
basically,
look good?
4-player co-op. You're all kind of different class-based soldiers or whatever. And the idea is that Mother Base at the end of Ground Zeroes gets sucked into another dimension as opposed to just blown up like it is in
course.
the
Yeah.
game. Snake and Ocelot and Miller and Otacon and all those other jerks all fly away in their helicopter or whatever. And we played a cool game about them that we care about, but this is about 4 people we've never heard of.
Yep.
One of them has a stick, another one has a bow and arrow, one of them has a shotgun, and then they go to Elseworlds, Afghanistan, where there are crystal-headed zombies wandering around,
Yeah.
and they have to
So
open
it's
up
Left 4 Dead.
rifts or something.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Left 4 Dead or Call of Duty Zombies.
Yes, it's a online or local multiplayer zombie game.
I mean, they
but
said
it's,
it is the Phantom Pain team. So
Yeah.
whoever stayed after Kojima left, it is them.
So the interesting
What's the
thing
point?
about
It's
it,
so different. Like,
yeah,
I don't care.
the interesting thing about it is that and I don't know what I expected from this. I was actually, I was one of the people that when we first heard about this, I was like, it'll be fine. And now the more I see about it, I'm like, oh, this is like hovering closer and closer to being just a massive cash grab for the uninitiated people who don't really understand the whole drama between Kojima and Konami, and they're just like, I love Metal Gear, a new Metal Gear, cool Metal Gear. The like walk cycles, the standing, sitting, shooting animations, all of those, the reticle on the HUD, the maps, the like people have gone through on YouTube and done breakdowns of how many assets were lifted directly from Phantom Pain, and like. I guess we should have expected this,
Yeah,
but I also expected a little bit more.
This almost just seems like this
Yes,
should have been a mode.
yeah. Yeah.
Not a
Yeah.
game, like the way
Yeah.
that Zombies mode is in Black Ops is a
Yeah.
mode.
Well, that's the thing, and this is going to be a standalone packaged product with its own SKU, and it's going to probably be $39.99 or more. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
if it's cheap, then I feel like I would kind of be okay with it.
And that's okay. That's okay. But if it's like you own Phantom Pain, and for $20 you get this map pack new
Yeah.
mode thing. Because if I already downloaded all of those maps and all those animations and all that stuff, and it's an extra mode, that's one thing. But I have a feeling it's gonna be a completely standalone product with its own SKU, and it'll cost.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
assets get reused left and right. That's a thing.
Or Far Cry
also-
Primal Ubisoft gotten a lot of shit for that.
Yeah.
For making that Far Cry game that basically like lifted the entire map from 4. And I remember people at first being like, actually no, it's totally cool because this is the same map but thousands of years before. And I'm like, that's really smart. And then it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, a river was supposed to be here, but a mountain's here instead.
think-
It was just kind of like reusing.
Yeah, I think reusing the assets for this, though, because it's a different genre effectively, could almost be like, well, I'm playing through this. Oh, I recognize that area. That's cool. Like, maybe it would make you like it more.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
grounded in
Like,
the
at
familiar.
least at least it has something for me to hold on to. Whereas if it's just, and I love Left 4 Dead, and I like that style of game, so it's like if that just kind of maybe adds to it feeling like Metal
Yeah.
Gear, and I totally have attachments to environments
Yeah.
in that game. Like, I have memories that are ingrained in the way certain places look, and like I can see that kind of making it better, but I still think it is cheap.
Yeah.
It
I
is.
don't
It is
think they
cheap.
did it with that in mind.
It is cheap. I mean, to play devil's,
Conversely, they also pumped so much money into this engine.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
like
true.
they did not give this. I mean, it was called the Fox engine. Obviously, Kojima was in charge of making it. But you know, they're not like. They didn't give money to him to be like, hey, Kojima, make a Metal Gear engine. They were like, this was going to be what they were using. I mean, it's what they used for Pro Evolution Soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they made this engine.
right, which
They've
is
got all these
but
assets.
that game doesn't take place like in that same
Yeah.
field in
I mean,
Afghanistan.
the fact that they're calling it Metal Gear Survive, I think, is probably the most
Yeah.
Disingenuous
frustrating
part.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just tough to buy 2 games a year apart that have slightly different titles but have reused so many of the same
I
assets.
also find it funny
Yeah.
because they asked Kojima about it at TGS, and he said Metal Gear is about geopolitical warfare and philosophy, not zombies. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right.
You
but
know what?
also,
Yeah,
it's
calm-
about
calm down.
vampires
Yep.
and clones and
Robots.
women who breathe out of their skin.
Numerous robots
Yeah.
that have missile launchers in their crotches.
Yeah.
Numerous.
There's a fat man on
There's
roller
a guy
skates.
with bees all over it.
Yeah, he had so many bees.
There's an old man with a parrot.
Yeah, and if you just
I
set
think
the
the-
clock back, he just passes away in his wheelchair.
The other frustrating thing is that Metal Gear Solid 5 didn't really have an ending. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was sort of just like, well, it's done now. So you would think that something like this would pick up from it.
Yeah. Also,
I mean,
had a ghost hand.
to be devil's advocate to my own point here, I played through all of Far Cry 4 and I played through Primal, and there was almost no time where I was like, hey, it's the same hill with 4 trees on it. Like, I mostly
Yeah, it was
don't care.
Mechanically different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I just
I'm
didn't.
not
I just
concerned about that.
A
This
lot of
will
people
be
don't notice that kind of
mechanically
stuff.
Yeah, my biggest complaint is just why did you call it Metal Gear?
Yeah. Also, like, man, it's just they've got all these assets to make a Metal Gear game set in the '80s in Africa or the desert or wherever. Why not do a ham-fisted remake of the first Metal Gear? Like, you've got a skeleton there, you've got a
Yeah.
structure. You know, like, it could be one of those weird things where, I mean, they're demonstrating that this whole tool set allows them to do like kind of rapid. The whole game has you building fences and like putting down walls and stuff, which is like, if you can do that in game, then clearly you've got like a pretty cool toolkit to like design levels. So maybe don't just lift Afghanistan again, and you know, maybe design like a new area that's Zanzibar land. You know,
I like the idea of them using that engine for a remake. I don't know how feasible that is, but I know that Capcom specifically, who I would kind of put in Konami territory in the last few years, outright said that HD remakes are their bread and butter these days.
Yeah.
I mean, they just put out the Dead Rising trilogy a few days ago. They've done both of the original Resident Evil remakes and Zeros. They're working on Resident Evil 2 right now, which I'm sure is like a whole rat's nest. But I know that with Twin Snake specifically, which was one of the last times we saw like a full-formed Metal Gear remake, that game had a lot of problems. Specifically because every boss fight broke from the fact that you now had the liberty of going in the first person and finishing them in half a second. Yeah. So I think there's a lot more involved in that. That being said, like, that's a great idea for a good use of that engine, and I'd love to see them do something with it outside of just make this sort of like weird stepbrother of the game they made last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't care about this game. I'm curious about it, kind of, but it's like,
you also
know.
don't get a dog or a horse, I think.
No,
That's
you get a bunch
disappointing.
of weirdos hanging out with their dumb sticks and bows and arrows.
Yeah.
That's why I'm wondering where like humor is going to come into play in this, because I think a lot of that's
I hope
warped
it
perspective. I do too, because a lot of it specifically came from Kojima's warped mind, and like you take that away and just leave the B team there. Like, I don't know if they'll just put stuff in randomly and be like, "See, random, that's Kojima humor," and like, well, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, open mind about this, but not really.
You know what would
Yeah.
be cool? Left 4 Dead 3.
Yeah,
It'd be cool if Valve
Cool.
made a game that wasn't Dota.
yeah. Well,
that's
why
true.
would they?
They absolutely don't need to.
Dota's
They probably look at their bank account and they're like, "Why do we have to ever make another thing again?"
The best way you can explain Valve is that they are, if Pixar invented Netflix, why would you keep making movies if you had the thing that was just channeling? But that kind of falls apart once you realize that, you know, Netflix makes their own stuff. So
Yeah.
I was there with you for a little bit.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but they have such a monopoly that it's kind of, you know, everyone on PC pretty much uses
Yeah.
Steam. Like, they
Yeah.
don't really need to make Left 4 Dead.
No, they don't. You know,
But you could
That's-
do it. You could do it anyways.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
All right. So speaking of games you can get using the internet in a machine such as a PlayStation, here's some games that are coming out this week. Destiny: Rise of Iron. I'm sure we're all hotly anticipating.
There's an entire
Destiny.
podcast called Fire Team Chat
Go
with
listen
people
to-
who know
yep.
more about
Go-
Destiny than we
go
You
do.
know
listen
what?
to
I think
that.
I'm going to jump into it. I think I'm going to play it.
Really?
I got
Yep, I haven't played since launch.
I got a code for all this.
I did
super
too.
different.
I was thinking about it.
I think I'm going to play it.
Oh.
Should we
guys
do
wanna
this?
play
Yeah, we're doing it.
All right.
Are we all on
I'm
PS4?
gonna be a guardian.
play it on PS4.
I'm gonna
All
be
right.
a guardian.
I'm down because
All right.
here's the thing with Destiny. I got like an hour into that game and I was just like, not yet. And then I was like, I'll come back one day when this more fully formed, and now it
Now it's
is.
fully formed.
Dude, I hated it and played like 30 hours somehow. It was like the gameplay is just so good, even though the whole game is boring. That it's like, yeah, this is really easy to just sit and play.
Yeah.
It had the casino effect on me where I was like, oh man, I haven't spent that much time with this. And I looked at it, I was like, I spent like 8 or 10 hours. And I was
Yeah.
like,
Right.
I feel like I've been playing for 3 hours.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it was just because
Also, partly because everything looks the same
Yeah,
and
pretty
all the
much.
missions are exactly the same. But supposedly, like, and it does have really good gameplay. The melee mechanics are like some of my favorite in any first-person shooter.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. So, with that foundation, if they've added all this new content, which Rise of Iron is supposed to have, then maybe we have a good game here. And I feel
All
like
right.
it's my duty to check.
I've
that
also
out.
been really frustrated at home when I turn on my PS4 because I'm like, I don't know what to be playing right now. Like we're in that weird calm before the storm, and I played through a bunch of classic games. Like I know the BioShock collection is out and
Dead
stuff like that,
Rising
and Dead
the
Rising.
Resident
Yeah.
Evil games, and it's like,
Yeah.
well, do I want to? Yeah.
I was
Dead
like,
Rising's probably.
I'm
Yeah.
Good one.
replaying GTA 5 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was weird. The same weekend we were both playing it. I just like for whatever reason really wanted to play GTA. Like
It's a good
screw
game.
around that world.
It's a
Yeah.
real good game. Anyway, Dear Esther, Proto Gone Home.
Yeah, Jurassic was one of the first quote-unquote walking simulators, finally making its way to consoles as like sort of the special edition. Has you wandering around a creepy island and piecing together the story through environmental cues. Very cool. Big fan.
It's another really short one as well. So
Yeah, it's like an hour or two.
Cool. It's like a book, but instead of just turning the page, you have to walk around to find.
And this game's
the
not going
next
to give you a
page.
paper cut like all those mean softbacks.
Yeah,
true.
and if you get it wet, it doesn't work at all. It doesn't just get messed up.
Ooh, yeah.
Don't
wet.
get your PlayStation wet.
Yeah, and don't feed it after midnight.
Then there's the bunker. I watched a trailer for this. It looks kind of insane.
I got a code for this.
It's a live action. What do you call it? FMV.
It's an
which
FMV
is a
horror
totally
game.
disingenuous
Yeah.
okay,
full
but
motion video.
the next line that you have is somewhere between Until Dawn, 10 Cloverfield Lane, and Metro 2043. So sold.
yeah, all that
What?
sounds good.
Yeah.
So it's basically you're in this kind of Fallout-esque bunker. The nuclear war happens. You've grown up in this bunker, and then there's. I watched a little bit of the gameplay trailer, and it's all live action, but as opposed to like older FMV stuff where there'd be like kind of a crappy HUD down below, and you would just like, I don't know, pick options or whatever. This is actually kind of integrated, so it is the kind of thing I feel like you could probably and less effectively make this kind of game just using YouTube annotations.
Huh.
Because it's branching path,
I've
like
played
you
games
basically,
like that on
yeah,
YouTube.
where
Yeah.
you basically click on. I mean, there's a shot where this guy's opening a medicine cabinet, and you just move your cursor up and you click it, and then it's him opening it. I'm really
Yeah.
curious to see how it works.
Man.
And
Yeah.
Based on that premise, I totally want to play
yeah,
this.
I mean, I feel like we're at a point where FMV stuff could totally make a proper comeback
Yep.
because making digital
VR
video
definitely
is,
helps with that too.
Yeah.
it's also so much cheaper to produce video than it was when that was first introduced.
Yeah.
Or digitizing it even.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I saw
uh,
Blair Witch over the weekend, and I was thinking, like, with like just a little bit of agency, you could turn this into a game.
Oh wow.
You know,
Right.
an action game.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Then of course there's Jazzpunk Director's Cut. This is made by a couple good friends of mine, so I'm a nasty what do you call it, collusion man. Basically, if Gone Home is your kind of tragic indie movie about emotions and family and dysfunction and all that, this is a Leslie Nielsen movie about cyberpunk reinterpretations of the Cold War. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit Mad Magazine, a little bit Ren and Stimpy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel sort of weird plugging this on the show because my friend made it, but I became friends with him because I like the idea of the game so much. So
I like the game, and I don't know
yeah,
him. So
yeah,
there you
that
go.
works.
There you go.
It adds multiplayer, which is like a local co-op, split screen thing.
Did we play this? Did we play this at PSX last year?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was
the
cool.
game came out for PC. It's finally coming to consoles, but it's
Yeah.
like the extra edition. Or director's cut.
Yeah, it's got this multiplayer mode called Wedding Cake, but it's cake with a Q like Quake. But basically, you're running around and it's looks like GoldenEye, but with weird little
Yeah.
spy versus.
It also
spy.
handles. It's a game about slapstick humor, which
Yeah.
games don't do, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's Machinarium, which this is one of those games I swear to God comes out on every platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a point and click.
It's like
adventure
Limbo.
game. Yeah. Really pretty.
So
Big fan.
then there's Telltale Batman Episode 2, Children of Arkham. John Ryan reviewed it for IGN, gave it an 8 out of 10. He said it's 30 minutes shorter than the first episode, but way more character development, and that they introduced some new enemies called the Children of Arkham, which are probably gross little kids, smelly boys.
Those are the Babbage's boys.
The Babbage's boys. Yes, those free babies you get if you pre-ordered the full version of this. Yeah, but anyway, it's a story game.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
You
for
gonna
this.
play it?
Yeah. I thought the first one ended on a really strong note.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see where it goes from there. Like we all had similar problems with the first one of the ham-fisted my parents died over and
Exposition.
over and
So
over again.
Right.
I was meant to review this, couldn't because I was out of the city and didn't have access to a PC.
You're not allowed to review games with children in the title.
It's
I
true.
thought you were saying like I was born to review this.
Yeah, it's actually
I
it's,
reviewed the first one. I was meant to review this one.
it's too close to home because the Children of Arkham fall squarely in your ages 2 to 5 demographic. Duplo crowd.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of
bias.
Yeah, I was actually waiting for a couple of episodes to be out to start marathoning through them. That's usually how I play Telltale games. I don't like playing
pretty quick.
Yeah.
The first one came out like a month ago, right?
Yeah.
I think they might have finally gotten the hang of that.
Yeah, I gotta say, all things considered, they've been nailing their release dates a lot better with this. Like, it's actually
their plan is to have it all done by the end of the year.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Coming out soon.
I'm expecting one a month.
Yeah, I appreciate the frequency in which these are actually being executed, because I played Walking Dead ones where it's just like 4 months later, I'm like, I don't even remember what my choices were or what I did.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
You know what? I'd love to say that that's totally a thing that's native to video games, but comics do the same thing all the time. I think actually Walking Dead,
that's
the comics,
true.
where like Robert Kirkman's like, hey man, I'm going on a coke cruise with my yacht full of
Books.
AMC money.
Books have been doing that since books existed. It's like,
What do you guys think of the new
luxury
Game of
to get
Thrones
things.
book
Hey.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
in 2037?
Another game that came out this week in Japan was Persona 5,
Oh,
which Andrew is very excited for. He imported many copies. We have an unboxing of the collector's edition
He's
up.
actually so excited that he hyperventilated and passed out, and that's not
Yeah,
why
he had a little wheezy bird attack outside. But him and I are going to do a ton of Let's Plays of the game in Japanese, and no, neither of us speak that.
That's going to be
beautiful
really,
language.
really weird.
And so this is going to be going up pretty soon on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/IGN.
He was playing it at my desk yesterday, and I was sitting there with the Google Translate app holding up to the phone, and it was just like, how do you bread the store? So that's not a
How
good
do
way to
you
play
bread
it.
the store?
You don't. You wait for a translation patch.
you wait for Valentine's Day when you can speak it.
But it's really crazy. We were saying that this hasn't. I don't remember since like the '90s, and I don't play a ton of import games. Like I import maybe like a game every 3 or 4 years, usually if it's okay to do that, and I'm playing on a system that allows me to do that. And since PS4 games are region free, he was able to stick that disc right in there and start playing it. But it's not out in America until February, which is a very, very, very long. That's 100 years in the video game industry. So it's been like, I remember being a kid playing like Final Fantasy and being like, oh wait, which Final Fantasy is this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
6,
4, but in Japan
2.
it's 1.
Yeah.
Like what? And having to wait that long for something to be localized.
Considering it came out, that means that is just localized.
It's just localization. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is like that's why Final Fantasy's worldwide release is such a big deal.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of unprecedented with RPGs.
It's also if you're playing something like like Yoshi's Woolly World, they can get that here in like a day and a half because it's just like. Ah!
Yeah.
But for a game like for an RPG like that, that's his noise. There's like thousands of lines of dialogue in that game, so it's going to take them a long time.
They should just
all
make
the
it so
cutscenes.
they all make weird little dinosaur noises.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's why Banjo-Kazooie was able to get localized everywhere.
Oh, yeah, look.
Uh-huh.
It'd be weird if there was a different person in every language that made those noises.
Yeah.
Yuck.
So speaking of localized games and stuff, I realized that I really want to play Yakuza 0, which I don't know where that. I don't know where that came from.
Is that coming here?
That's coming here. It's coming out. I actually wrote it in the notes here. It says that comes out on Christmas 2 trademark, aka January 24th. Copyright Brian Altano 2014.
What?
Yeah, no, Brian. I made a joke about Christmas 2, and Brian was like, "That's my joke." So I just wanted to give you full credit there.
Christmas 2.
We made that. You were looking around the room like, I think it's going to be Christmas 2, and I was like, yeah, and it took you a while to get there.
Anyway, Yakuza. It's a long-running series that obviously does well in Japan. All I know about this game is like the weird like snippets I see of it on Twitter. Yakuza 6, which is coming out, God knows when, apparently has a cam girl mini game where you are supposed to be typing in a chat room, but you're just doing button combos with a controller, and like a girl will like take her shirt off, and somehow that's
weird. I can't believe that's coming here.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that one's coming here yet, but Yakuza 0 is like the first one, which apparently is just like super goofy, like 80s GTA basically.
Yeah.
With
Wait, are you the
Japanese
cam
mob
girl or
bosses.
are you watching a cam girl?
You're watching the
You'd be
cam
watching.
girl.
Who
You probably-
watches the dude who watches the cam girl?
The kind of person that would buy this game.
Pervots. I don't know. Like,
Provies?
I'm just like, do you guys know anything about the Yakuza series?
Yeah,
Not really. I like
the first
I'm
one a
totally
lot.
down with them. I've never played any of them, but I watched a live stream
Uh-huh.
of Yakuza.
Did they look fun?
Yeah, totally.
The first
Okay.
one's super fun.
Okay.
Like the original one for PS2
Okay.
had this really awesome open world and the
Like, I'm
awesome
so down
combat
with
system.
the
It was
way
like
that they look.
Shenmue, but the broken things weren't broke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen like bits where you just like kick a door open and a guy like flies out of the way, or like
Yep.
parts where you throw a baby or something, and I don't like.
Yeah, it looks like high action and fun. I think it was like a friend of mine who never played it before that I was watching, and it's just like it's ridiculous. And
Yeah.
also
I really just want a new Sleeping Dogs game.
Yeah.
Can somebody make
Oh,
that?
man,
And not
yeah.
that Triad Wars nonsense or whatever the.
Yeah.
So bad.
Sleepy Pups.
Yeah.
Yeah, last time we had one of the guys. I think it was what was it? One of the guys. What's that called? I forget that studio's name. Anyway,
high voltage.
Not high voltage, but the guys who did Sleeping
Nintendo?
Dogs, not Nintendo,
Nintendo.
close. But anyway, they were in the office. They worked on I think it was some portion of Disney Infinity.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys working on Sleeping Dogs too? And the guy did that very and then kind of crept away. And I was like,
yes.
I hope that's a yes, or else
Yeah.
just I'm scared. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was very sick.
Yeah, he was a ghost.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Also, Max swore at him.
yeah, just with
Working on
outrage.
Yeah. He called him the P word.
Yeah, the cursive F
The
word.
Pope.
He called him a sleeping female dog.
Oh.
Wow, sick. All right, now it's time for another great segment called Rapid Fire, which is where we go in. Is this from the Facebook group?
These are from the Facebook group this time. Next time we'll go from the YouTube comments on our breakouts and our episodes, and on the emails, which we definitely still read. I just went to the Facebook group this time.
We got a real scary one about Satanism. I don't want to talk about it.
What?
We got a real scary email. I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, about Satanism?
Yeah, it was really weird.
Well, yeah, that
I
was
got
bad.
an email.
Sounds great.
We got an email. We got an
Oh.
email to Newswire about a company that's disrupting STD testing. You know how
Oh, yeah,
you
don't disrupt
disrupted
that.
it, and I'm like, that doesn't need disruption. Like STD testing's totally great.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Are they?
why.
Did they find them all
They
for
caught,
you?
they caught them all 151. We got a little
All
weird.
right.
They got it missing now.
Anyway, Javier Bonnet, who what is that? An STD testing song that I just yelled
Oh,
over?
dude, there's totally. Wait, was
Oh.
I with any of you? There's an STD
Gotta
billboard.
check 'em
There's an
all,
there's an
STDs.
STD catching billboard, an STD test billboard.
It's not an STD catching billboard. You know what?
STD
How gross that sounds?
People just
Like
keep
it's a
going and
billboard where people throw their STDs
getting their
at.
ropes out on that
There's
billboard.
an STD testing billboard that's all in the Pokemon font.
Yeah.
And it says, "Have you caught them all?"
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
That
Anyway.
billboard has.
Guys, I don't have any STDs.
Javier Bonnet says, "Would your love or passion of video games change if you didn't work in the games industry? Like, would you be more passionate or less passionate if you didn't work in the games industry?"
I would probably be more passionate, but less inclined to check out everything.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'd be much more I'd be way more
Specific
casual,
things.
you know?
Yeah.
Like I'd jump on stuff that I was really excited about, but I wouldn't be like, oh, I should pay attention to what's going on. Like I'd be like, oh,
And I wouldn't feel the need to play something just to be able to talk about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, before I worked in the industry, like I played games, but I pretty much played games that I knew I would like.
Mm-hmm.
I played far fewer games I didn't like because I was like, I'm not really like
Right.
Metal Gear 4 and Assassin's Creed and Braid and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think that the only thing that kept me from playing everything was money. Like if that wasn't an object, then I would play everything. I know even very specifically. I think my passion would pretty much stay where it is, which is trying
mine's
to
the
get a
same.
little bit of everything. And I think with stuff like Redbox and stuff, like I'd go to the grocery store and I'd be like, oh, I'm going to take out.
What's Redbox?
You know what Redbox
A
is?
little rental service thing.
Oh, those are like at the grocery store.
Yeah. So they
Yes,
like it's actually kind of ridiculous because it's like rental stores are gone now. But if you want to check out a game, like if you want to play Dark Souls and you're not sure if you're gonna be good at it, like I went on that rant on Bloodborne and
can
a
do
bunch
like
of people.
$2 a day or something.
Yeah, it's like
It's crazy
it's
cheap.
ridiculously cheap for like to play a AAA game, especially if you're thinking about a game that you can beat in like 1 or 2 nights. Like to spend $4 and there's like coupons or get one free and stuff
Yeah.
like that. To spend $4 and play through a game and be able to talk about it with your
Through, like,
friends.
Uncharted 4
Yeah,
in a weekend,
totally.
you know.
I've always thought about like if I would like Twitch stream more or anything like that, because it's not something I'm really interested in doing after like talking about games all day.
Yeah.
But I think that I would
I
probably
used to
do more
listen
stuff
to a
like
lot
that.
more game podcasts before I was in
Yeah.
the industry because now we sort of like live a 9-hour game.
Yeah,
podcast.
I would totally not feel bad about just playing one game I really liked. Like that's one thing I'm really jealous of is I always feel like I'm wasting. Like we talked about, I'm replaying GTA, and I'm like, why
Yeah.
am I doing this? There's no point to this. I'm not playing online. I'm not seeing like new content. I'm playing a game I've already played before, and I have this weird guilt in the back of my mind, even though I'm enjoying myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or like just dumping a bunch of time in multiplayer for something where it's like I'm just killing time, having a good time. you
Yeah.
know? And like that's what games are supposed to be. But when it does become a kind of part of job description, it's a different.
Well, I think you're allowed to lean into your comfort foods more, as long as if you're still up to speed on everything else that's coming out. Like I'm playing all the new stuff, but I'm also I replayed Resident Evil 4 3 times. Like I finished it, I beat it, started out on pro mode, and when you beat it on pro mode, you actually get this like Las Plagas removal gun, which is like the golden gun in that game. You walk into any room and it kills every enemy with one shot. And I flew through it again in like 7 hours like that because it was just something I could do like in 30-minute chunks but also while playing other stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
My thing is I've always wanted to have every console and every handheld, so I always want to be there for everything.
Yeah.
I don't, because my passion hasn't really changed since I started working in games. I feel like it's always been the same level. The biggest thing that I would do is, like you said, play old stuff.
Right.
Like there's stuff that I haven't played that I really want to play. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing that would change, is that I would feel like I had time to do that.
Yeah, actually, the weird thing that keeps me from playing older games is the idea that someone's going to remake them at one point. Like I had an itching to play through BioShock again, like 2 or 3 years ago. Even though it's not even anywhere near one of my favorite games like it is for other people. But I had kind of heard like rumblings of like an HD collection coming out. Look, there was like weird rumors about that for a while, and there were
I think
hints
that was
to
a
it.
relief.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's finally.
Crap, that's
like,
right.
have to play that
Skyrim's
again.
coming out this year again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I'm
I mean,
totally gonna play that game again.
Yeah.
but you know what? I think that's totally
Me too.
cool because, like, in terms of being able to do your job, a bunch of people will be playing that game for the very first time. Like, people who played Elder Scrolls or who played Fallout are going to try that game for the first time.
Yeah.
Or PlayStation people who couldn't play Skyrim back in the day because you had to put all your swords down before you went through a door, otherwise you crashed. So hopefully they fix that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jeff Grady asks, "What's the worst console you have ever owned?"
Virtual Boy.
Oh yeah, me too. And I got that for $35 with 8 games, and I still felt ripped off.
I got it for like $20 out of Toys R Us.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? It's got Tellero Boxer.
They
Yeah.
gave me
You fight a-
migraines
you
after
gotta
10 minutes.
fight a
There's actually
cat.
like the Wario game and Mario Clash and Nestor's Funky Bowling are legit fun games, but
Yeah.
you would never know it because that system is actively punching you in the face while you're playing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You have to lay down on your belly to play it.
It's one of the first. It was one of the first consoles that actually warned you to take breaks. Like, and that became Nintendo's thing for a while with the Wii and the Wii U and the 3DS. But it was like, hey, stop looking at this. It's killing you. And I was like, why are you
I
telling
like
me
the
that?
idea that Nintendo systems start making up lies. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, NX, something's gonna pop up. Like, did you hear that? I think there's someone at the door. Well,
there
you
was
go and
always
check,
like-
and you come back, they're like, oh no, we just wanted you to take a break.
I hated that on the Wii where like there was that picture of a guy like holding Wii remotes having a good time, but he was like looking over his shoulder and there was a beautiful day outside with the windows open, the breeze, and there was trees out there and they're smiling, and he was like, hey, go outside, it's beautiful. And I was like, I'm playing video games. Like, I don't care about outside. This is why I'm here.
The Tiger R-Type.
Oh,
Tiger,
God.
R-Zone.
R-Zone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was like, there were two versions. One that went over your eye like you were, I don't know,
Kano?
Deathstroke or
Yeah.
whatever. And the other one was just this one that had like a weird pop-out thing that kind of looked like a precursor to it looked like one of those Game Boy magnifiers, but it was like, hey, it's the same exact crappy Tiger games, except now they're on little cartridges and they light up red. And you're like, okay, so you copied Game Boy and Virtual Boy at the same time, missing
the point of both. Like it was one of the first cartridge-based Tiger Electronics systems. And if you don't remember Tiger Electronics, they made games based on pretty much every IP that was ever popular back in the 80s and 90s. And they were all single-screen games that had sort of like Game Boy Advance style layouts on them, where you had a D-pad and you had some buttons, maybe depending on what you had to do. But they were all LCDs, so if you like squeezed really hard on the game or hit the reset button in the beginning, you saw everything that the game had to offer.
Yeah, and you had no idea what you were looking at unless you read the manual.
Yeah.
You could see a little like, oh, that's supposed to be the T1000. And you're like, I don't know what this game is.
The only contest I've ever won in my life was from pudding. I won a pudding contest, and they sent me a Space Jam Tiger handheld.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, did you make a pudding? Did you make pudding and enter a contest?
Please never ask Marty again. Did you make a pudding?
Yes, what the
Like a mom.
I split that man's tires and I made a pudding.
Okay.
That's when I need you to ask that to the same 2-year-old that you bought those Legos to. Did you make a pudding? That's what you say when a kid craps his pants.
Did you do the Dunkaroos?
Pudding making. Yeah, I always felt bad for Tiger Electronics because they were like, it was like a kid trying to dress up as an adult. Like
Someone baking brownies.
as handheld gaming got better and better, and now it's it's incredible. Like it's my phone,
Yeah, I think that's the equivalent of Tiger Electronics is like, oh, it's weird licensed Minions iPhone games. You're
Yep.
like, okay. What?
What about you, Alana? What was your least favorite video game console
I
you
really
ever
don't
owned?
have an answer to this. When I was growing up, my family was pretty poor, so I didn't get things immediately. I always got them later and cheap, and I feel like I was always just incredibly excited about it. I don't.
Yeah.
There's nothing that stands out as being
Well,
bad.
let's see. If I didn't have Virtual Boy or like those crappy Tiger Electronic ones, like every system I've owned, like every Nintendo system, Sega system, Xbox, and Sony system I've owned, I've been super happy with.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel really positive about everything I've had, and I had no.
Like I never bought a
favorites.
Jaguar or a
Jaguar?
32X. Jaguar?
Jaguar?
In-engine?
My friend had
Engine?
a Tiger Gamecom. That was really weird because that was
Yeah.
basically Tiger being like, hey, we're going to make a real handheld and it's going to be a legit game thing. And it was like, I feel bad for them because as a company, they were like, let's try to make real game system, and they put
Yep.
like Resident Evil and Duke Nukem 3D on there,
And Sonic. I mean,
it was the first system that could connect to the internet. I
and
think.
the first handheld with a touchscreen too. Yeah, there was like, it's so interesting watching stuff like that happen. Like
But it was black and white.
It was all black and white. But I mean, the fact that they got on the phone with like companies like Capcom and who had the Duke Nukem license at the time.
3D Realms.
3D Realms and Sega, and they were like, come make games for our new handheld system. It goes online, it's got a touchscreen. Yeah, it just didn't work out. I had a friend with a Jaguar, and it was like, dude, we're trying our hardest to make Alien vs Predator and Tempest seem like they're fun games, and they're not. His parents had just gotten divorced, and it was like that. He got that. It sucked.
Yeah.
It was just sad. And then he moved to Michigan. I never saw him again.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive. He hit me up on Facebook recently, where everyone goes
Shout
to
out
live.
Carl.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of Facebook, Edward Hooten on Facebook asks, which game do you wish was available on a portable, and which portable game do you wish was made for a home console?
I want
Second one's
Pokemon
easy,
on home
Pokemon.
console.
Damn it,
Yeah.
Marty.
an
Definitely
easiest
want
one.
Pokemon on home console.
I feel like most of the games I enjoy on TV, I don't want portable because I feel like I don't want to just I don't want Metal Gear or Witcher on portable.
Right. I would actually love to play Golden Abyss and Uncharted 4's engine.
Yeah.
Like, it's like a 10-hour game.
I guess a lot of RPGs, I wish, like JRPGs, like I wish Persona 5 was portable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Right.
feel like any game where I'm grinding, I like doing it with something
Yep.
going on another screen.
Yeah, I kind of wish they put out one last Vita that was like, let you remote play anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, how cool would it be to just be able to download a game like
Yeah.
that, remote play, and then just go on a
actually
train?
There's actually one of those Vitas, but you have to win a pudding contest to get it.
Yeah, you got to make a pudding.
I think I made a pudding, like created a new flavor of pudding.
Alec Gonzalez says, what movie or TV show would you want to be a game?
Lost. Wait, it was a game and it was bad.
Yeah. What was it? Was that an adventure game?
Yeah.
Kind
a little
of,
bit,
but it was
yeah.
like first person.
It was Ubisoft.
Yeah,
Lost,
Via Domus or whatever. I played a little bit of that.
Molly, what game were we having a conversation? Sorry, movie were we having a conversation about that we were like, oh, this is like a video game. Oh, Kubo.
Oh, Kobo. Yeah.
Yeah, Kubo just came out. It's a beautiful stop motion
Mm-hmm.
film, and that's just the first one that comes to mind. Not my definitive answer, but it's like very video
laid
gamey.
out like a video game.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
has boss fights. It has what seem like levels. Like
Mm-hmm.
it totally is like a game.
Yeah. I was thinking, I just finished watching Narcos, which you should all watch because it's incredible.
really good.
And I think that'd be an awesome idea for a game that's like half third-person action game, half detective game.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of, like, kind of the way, I mean, like a Batman game, but without flying around a city.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
Also, Blair Witch. The latest
Yeah.
Blair Witch would translate pretty well.
Yeah.
You know,
Also-
you can access drones. There's different cameras, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
was it Kane and Lynch 2 that had the camera that was like a camcorder, was
Yeah,
shaking when
yeah,
you
yeah.
ran?
Yep.
Was it 2?
Yeah.
The first one didn't have that though, I think.
Correct.
Have you played
That worked pretty well.
Kane and Witch, where him and the Blair Witch have to go on adventure?
But it's
I
Kane,
would
it's
love to
Kane
play
the
that.
wrestler. And he finds love in the
Kane
woods.
and Witch.
Jeff Gerstmann gave it 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Finally, do you have one, Max?
Yeah, I was gonna say like basically any stupid '80s action movie that hasn't already been tapped into.
Yeah.
Like Tango and Cash as a
really good.
co-op game would be amazing.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh god, I wish that was a good.
Did they
game.
make like a Lethal Weapon NES game?
Probably.
Yeah, I feel like it.
Beverly Hills Cop would be great. Even if somebody just like modded these into GTA 5, I would just be like, "Yep, I'm
That'll
down."
do.
Yep,
I would
Here we
actually
are.
love Telltale's Teen Wolf,
Pretty good.
where he goes car surfing and he.
Telltale's Paul Blart Mall Cops.
I'd like a
Yeah?
LucasArts adventure game based on 16 Candles,
Yeah.
where you have to go and like, I'm
You
gonna
can pretty much give me a LucasArts adventure game based
Based
on
on
anything.
anything.
Totally.
I'll play it.
pretty much.
Finally, Mike Collins asks, "Have you ever refused to review a game?" Now, Max, you and I don't review games anymore.
yeah, because we refuse to.
we refused. To,
Suck
yeah.
it, feds.
But
Yeah, I didn't review Call of Duty. Any of the Call of Duty games. Been asked to. It wasn't like I refused aggressively, and I was like, I don't want to do that because after 4, what came after 4? Was it World at War?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just really didn't like it, and then decided based on that to just not play any more of them. And
Did you not?
I
you
didn't feel equipped to.
You didn't like the idea of like what the game represents, or
No, I just literally didn't like 5.
Oh,
Or
you just
World
don't
at
like Call of
War.
Duty games.
Yeah, but it's
At
I
a
don't
certain
feel
point,
that
you're
way
like,
anymore.
If I'm
Like,
entering something and not going to like it, I shouldn't.
right,
review
it didn't feel right. So I was like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna do it.
I've always been interested in that because I don't think you need to be an expert on a franchise to review it, but I do
like I
think
had
it's
negative
disingenuous
bias
to.
almost.
Yeah,
But
if you
I do
go in
wanna
and like
try
I
it now.
hate this, then that's a
Yeah.
problem.
I want to retry Call
Yeah.
of Duty because it's been a really long time since
Yeah.
I played one. Obviously, since 4.
Recuse ourselves if we're have any sort of a relationship with the dev. Like
Yeah.
none of us can review the game Mitch is writing. Obviously.
Totally.
Because
Yeah.
we hate Mitch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's most
So yeah,
sucks.
it's one of those biases.
It'd be like a
Smug.
0 out of 10 immediately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's also things that if I'm really excited about something, which I didn't have the luxury at my last job, but we do at IGN, is I don't want to play stuff that I'm really hyped for because I don't want it to become work. I don't want to have to worry about a deadline, worry about writing about the thing. I just want to consume it at my own pace.
Yep.
So.
And a lot of times if we cover a game a ton pre-release, like I've covered
exhausted.
Final Fantasy 15 pre-release to death, and so I'm not going to review it.
You'd get to a part that you've played before and you're like,
I've already said everything I have to say about it.
Yeah, you can definitely get too close to a game or to a franchise if you've been to like 7 preview events or interviewed the people making it 100 times.
You also
but
just get fatigued.
You do.
Like,
you do.
I don't want to talk about this again.
refused to review Duck Dynasty because of the incident.
Yeah. The duck incident.
You don't have to. You don't have to review it. You just need to play it, all of it, all the way through, just to make sure you've played it all.
Yeah, because if you don't, we have to execute you.
No.
Yeah, we'll take you out in the bayou, and we're gonna put some
We're
feathers.
go
in
to the
you.
pudding factory up north.
But the good thing is you don't have like a time limit on the execution, so it's like you can wait till you're like 50 and then play it. You just have to play it at some point.
You'll execute me on my deathbed if I haven't finished
exactly.
it.
If you don't finish it, we will give you a poison that will very slowly kill you over the next 100 years.
It's called racism, and the
right.
Duck Dynasty boys know all about it.
We got presents in the mail.
Bo-bo-bo-bo.
Do you guys want to vamp while I open the box?
Which one
We
is
got some
Opening
presents.
box and finding a
who's
present.
this one
What's inside the box? It's a head. It's a head of an
What's in
old
the
dead
box?
person.
Stop it. Everyone stop it. Everyone go.
What do we get?
Oh, that's
That's
really
why I'm
nicely
opening the
wrapped.
box to find out.
Wait, who's it from?
Is it a bread? A baked bread?
Guys, unwrap your present before opening this envelope. Okay, thanks.
Last time I got drunk, I sent you some beads. I wrote
Oh,
some wood puns
who's that guy?
failed
Bees?
to read. This time will not suck. My second gift you'll abscond. Stick on your finger, have fun. Beyond. P.S. Sycamore is pronounced sick-a-more.
So this guy sent us the strange beads.
Is this the?
I just want to make sure everyone sees. This is on camera right now, and we're recording this because if this is our final moments on Earth together.
Is this the Jigsaw killer?
Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about getting mysterious boxes in the mail that come with rhymes.
I feel great about it.
Riddles.
Yes,
I feel like the Riddler is a
You're not long
paladin.
for this world.
Oh, it's another box.
It's a small box.
It has a Star
Okay.
Wars
It
on
says
it.
Mattel on it. This is gonna be some kind of
Mattel brands.
Michelle
toy?
Branch?
It said Star Wars on the side. I'm totally okay with this killing me now.
It's okay. This is interesting. It's a bunch of finger airplanes.
Cool.
These are Star Wars toys that
these are
have
actually
things
cool.
called flight navigators. You stick your finger in them and you can fly the ships around.
Awesome.
I like
so
these. These are
great.
great. Who are you, mysterious sender of presents? This is so
Sweet.
nice.
Can I have that X-wing?
It says his name.
Who's a cool X-Men?
All right.
All right. So anyway, there's a second present.
I love this. Thanks,
Are we opening
man.
up both, or should we wait till next week for
It
this?
unfortunately doesn't say who it's from.
A mystery. It's from the one who sent us
But
the
thank
beads.
you for the beads.
Was it on the riddle?
And also for these.
Thank you, Bead Puzzler, for sending us this gift. If you guys at home would like to send us weird garbage in the mail, it doesn't have to be brand new toys. It could be literally whatever you feel like sending us.
It could be literal garbage.
As long as it's
Someone
legal.
sent us nothing. That was
Uh-huh.
the same guy who sent us beads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our address is 625 2nd Street.
A man sent us ham.
Floor 4, San Francisco, CA 94107.
What does the CA stand for?
California.
Cool.
Cool ass.
Yeah, we did get ham one time. We got steaks.
Yeah.
Still nobody sent alcohol.
Whoa! Wow, really? This is unnecessary.
So this is from Chris Price, right?
All right, Console
That's
Wars
right, yeah.
by Blake Harris. I love that dude.
It's Chris Price, sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, this has...
Wow, look at all these Mega Mans.
The little Megamans.
Magma Ben?
Sweet.
We made a mess.
So
there's a
friend of
copy
the show,
of-
Chris Rice sent a series of Mega Man Funko Pops with Mega Man and Proto Man and Rush and Dr. Wily, and sent a copy of Console Wars, which is an incredible book.
What does he say?
Looking forward to the show each week, and honestly, all of the projects you each have as well is one of the things that keeps me going and keeps me marginally sane. And since nobody else I know shares my taste in interior decorations, I thought you might like these. Plus, I'm very familiar with wanting to read a good book, but never getting around to picking up a copy. Now you have an office copy to pass around to anyone that is interested. Did
Yeah.
we-
Yeah, if you haven't read
nice.
Console Wars, it's incredible. It's
Okay.
about the Sega Nintendo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blake Harris is like the nicest dude, friend of ours. He came to IGN about a year or two ago, and they're actually making this a movie.
Seth Rogen?
And Seth Rogen's making a movie about this book.
And like all the best books that were based on movies in the 90s, it has a bunch of full color photos in the very
Yep.
center.
Seth Rogen also wrote the foreword to this. So did Evan Goldberg, and it's the most. Game Over is one of my favorite books of all time, but I think this one eclipses it in terms of just having the most interesting and fascinating fundamental breakdown of the way the Nintendo, Sega, and PlayStation thing shook out in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Really, really, really cool stuff. I'm actually amazed. This feels like they should make a show based on this.
Yeah.
They're making a movie about it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Did you guys just say that?
Literally
Yeah.
said that.
Sorry.
Were you doing a good read?
Chris wrote us all individual paragraphs that he said, we can skip that
Oh my
part,
God.
but
Thank you so
they're
much.
all
No one's allowed to read
really,
other
really
people's
sweet.
paragraphs.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Chris.
it's really nice.
Super nice guy.
All right, now you're just making a lot of crinkly noise.
Yeah, because I gotta get this.
We
shuttle
gotta
out of the
leave.
box.
We gotta leave. Esports are gonna beat us up.
I don't
All
think
right.
they're- Yeah. Okay. Fine. Okay.
All right, you can
And
find
then
us
on
all.
that-
You can find us all on Twitter. Max is at Max Scoville. Lana's at Charlana Zard. Ryan's at Agent Bizzle. I'm at POTUS.
Yeah. POTUS. Pudding of the.
United
United-
Shockers.
Let's
Yeah.
go make some pudding.
All right. Make a pudding, everybody, and have
Everyone-
a lovely night.